only one person has a substantive contract. These are guys who are charged with making decisions about killing people elsewhere to protect you. They're in acting capacity. If you discourage that autonomy, you encourage the ability to control corruption, and then you're in charge of this cannibalizing of the state. However, if you want institutions that are autonomous, then you encourage that challenge, on your own power. And right now, money is so important to politics, that all the little pools that are left, you require that the foxes and hounds, come from the same club. And that media, when I heard that, you couldn't appoint a poacher to be a ranger, what he really meant is, no, you don't want basically someone else's poacher or someone else's game ranger. You want one of your own.
Jackie, let's come back to the independence of these various institutions. Parliament has come out with guns blazing, attacking the judiciary. But even the independence of Parliament has been questioned over a long period of time. Yes, they have done investigations, and they have only gone that far. The judiciary would you say from this judgment that all the institutions now are coalescing in some direction, or is any of these institutions trying to assert its own independence or authority?
I think they try, but it's a hard battle. I don't know what it's like to, for example, be an the IGG right now, where and I also felt it under Mwanda, where you are set up as the institution of the state to fight corruption, but the very state that set you up is fighting you. I mean, how I don't know how difficult that is. It's really terrible. And again, that's why I go back to the fact that I think he speaks out of two sides of his mouth. Yes, you claim you are fighting corruption, and he has made that claim several times, but your actions are exactly the opposite. You are the very one not appointing the IGG. You're the very one fighting the IGG. You're allowing these institutions to have an infighting. And I think not only the institutions themselves, I think all Ugandans must join this fight around enabling institutions to stand independently. I think they have tried, and you can see the 9th Parliament really has tried. But again, the same parliamentarians are used to undermine their own independence. So when you eat your own, which is what these institutions do, unfortunately, Baku was fighting his boss at some, so it's all dog eat dog kind of thing.
Goodbye. What would you say about the commitment? You've been doing the local government scorecard. You see the amount of corruption at the local government level, but this is also the level where the IGG has been most effective. If you look at the number of prosecutions and investigations, you find the bulk is among local governments. But even the volume of corruption at local government level is so immense. What would you say needs to be done in Uganda today to be able to roll back corruption?
I think my argument actually has been that the corruption at the local government level, which is equally as bad, I think it's not as bad as the national level. I think at the local government level, you have so many small thieves. And there are people there. We also have to recognize that there are people there out who are struggling to make ends meet. They are struggling, working very hard. Some of them actually still out of necessity, not out of greed. So then you have the national level where the big theft is taking place, and much of that is theft that is actually based on greed. So my argument has been that I think that the corruption at the local government level is what I would call exported corruption, because many people at the local government level see what is happening at the national level.
Why not imported?
I want to call it exported in the sense that the local government officials are seeing what is happening at the national level. They see people steal with impunity. They see no action, and therefore it's like, we probably, it's okay to be able to steal. That's why I've been arguing that the fight against corruption in this country now can only be led by the president, actually. it cannot be led by some
I think
guy
he
called
lost the
IGG.
moral authority to lead it, I think.
No, I mean, I think he can still recover that moral authority.
Can he?
No, he can.
What does he need to do to recover that moral authority?
Retire.
No, I actually have written even in some of my pieces that that for the president to be able to take the leadership and gather the courage to be able to go after some of these guys, he has to abandon the idea of staying in power beyond a certain time.
I
of
think
reference.
corruption is one of those things that make
Angelo
people
hinted on that earlier. He
I
said
think-
the uncertainty of the political future
Yeah.
feeds this corruption juggernaut.
He,
Because
he is the one that removed that political certainty by
fact-
removing the term
In
limits.
fact, it does. It feeds the corruption, but also it deprives the president of the ability to actually go after some of these guys.
But you know, the state in Uganda in the 90s was efficient because the hierarchies were certain, you know. But you know, there's a recent article review of Putin's Russia. A guy made a very interesting comment that, you know, when you look at the corruption of the Russian state, you know, Putin is there prancing around like he's the, you know, the man who runs the show. But in fact, corruption, by creating multiple centers, really is evidence of a weak state and the absence of hierarchy. Here in Uganda, you know, you see people making statements, you know, we are here, we are in charge, but you look at the level of corruption and the multiple constituencies that it feeds, the multiple levels of patronage. That is an absence of hierarchy. It is not a sign of the strength of the system, in fact, a weakness of the system. So to Godbar's point, perhaps one way to re-establish political order in Uganda is to go after corruption, because that's also one way to re-establish the hierarchy. The problem is that these guys can't risk, because you know, that system may backfire.
Chairman Mao, you have multiple institutions. You have a local government accounts committee in Parliament. You have a public accounts committee in Parliament. You have a COSASA committee in Parliament. All these are oversight committees. You have the Auditor General. You have the IGG. You have
Accountant General.
you have Accountant General. You have a desk in the President's office, because at Okello House there is a desk that is investigating if it is NADS, if it is some other project. There is, if it is in health, you have a Dr. Twine. You have all these multiple centers or institutions.
And then you have the local government public accounts committee
Yes.
at every local government.
At every local government. But corruption seems to be growing and growing and growing and growing, only that these institutions create an outlet for more jobs for people. What needs to be done?
When I was in the university, we discovered the mosquito coils, and they reached a stage when the mosquitoes seem to be attracted more to the mosquito coils
Than repelled.
instead of being repelled.
It's just the whole US.
So it looks like corruption has reached a level in Uganda that the more it is pursued, the more it thrives.
Yeah.
And the more the president threatens the corrupt, the more they seem to be jubilant.
The more audacious they get, yeah.
The audacity of the corrupt is alarming. Now, what Angelo is saying is important. Right now, the only hierarchy is the presidency. That's why everybody, those who are fighting over contracts, those who want these, those, and that is because the constitution is elaborate. The constitution says the executive power or authority is vested in the president.
Yeah.
There's the only certainty in Uganda is who has the last word, whether he's right or wrong. All these others are jostling. Now, I would like to argue that all this is deliberate, because the only way to be totally in control is to so there's a method to the madness. There's nothing chaotic about what is going on, because ultimately the president one time even dared to say he was going to start having tea with judges, because the government was losing a lot of cases, and yet it's the government which passes the laws. The judges just interpret. In fact, to be fair to judges, they really wouldn't do much outside the law.
No, they wouldn't.
Apart from misinterpreting it. But they have to have a starting point. So, I do believe that where we have reached now, we have a crisis of confidence in institutions. the reason why everybody goes to court to question the authority of the IGG is because there's limited confidence. People don't trust that the IGG is going to deal with them fairly. If you go to the court, when people lose a case, they say the court is biased. When they win, bravo. Somehow, they have been looking for the right word. It is called a public spirit. You know, we need a public spirit in the conduct of public affairs. Those days, our people in the villages said, if you have a problem, go to the white man. The white man has no clan. He doesn't have his relatives. He may have some interests, but generally you can expect that he will apply the rules fairly to you. But in this kind of situation, that is why cabinet sits, awards the contract to Wavamuno. Gilbert Bukenya comes back and says, as chairman, I'm cancelling this award of the contracts for Chogam vehicles and award the contracts to so and so. I mean, the lack of a public spirit is the problem. Now, that's where the IGG should come in. The IGG is supposed to be that body which oversees. In fact, for me, the main job of the ICC is not even the IGG. The main job of the IGG is not even to prosecute people in corruption cases. The main job is ensuring administrative fairness. I apply for a job, I wait 2 years, I don't even get a letter. I demand for information, I apply for a land title, I want a land title. It has taken 3 years. Who do I go to? It should be the IGG. I feel that I have been unfairly denied a contract. The IGG should say, these are the rules. That means the DPP is not doing his job.
Absolutely.
Why is it that, in fact, I don't even want to see the IGG battling thieves in court.
He's been demanding for more space to be able to prosecute.
I think the IGG is losing his job. The IGG's job is to ensure that, look, when there's a case of administrative unfairness, and there are lots of administrative issues in this country. You try tomorrow to ask for a copy of the budget of your district in writing. I swear you will not receive that thing forever.
Let's take the break and come back. This discussion.
It's live. It's hot, provocative, and